What do you think is the stupidest way to talk about cheating? My wife distinguished herself by her originality and caused me great pain. I returned home and saw a note that my unfaithful wife had left me. She confessed her infidelity and hoped that I could forgive her. How wrong she was. I'm exhausted. 2 weeks of intense travel to set up our new international office in London, coupled with constant movement, has left me drained. However, the hardest part was being away from my daughters, and the 16-hour journey back home was torturous, even in first class. Being separated from my girls and my attractive wife is always tough. This lifestyle I've built for my family comes with demanding work. Due to high demand, my energy company has expanded into 12 countries. 5 years ago, I bought out my partner, Roger. These past 5 years have been challenging yet fulfilling. Now, I'm finally ready to relax and savor our success, as I've appointed a new president to oversee operations while I continue as CEO and owner. When I arrive home, I intend to share the great news with my daughters. I'm thrilled because it means I'll have increased time to spend with my family and friends, allowing me to return to a more ordinary routine. Don't misunderstand me, I appreciate the growth of my company, but fundamentally, my aim has always been to dedicate the majority of my time to witnessing my daughter's growth and cherishing moments with my wife. I feel fortunate to finally have the chance to step back and relish the rewards of my hard work at the age of 45. Throughout the years, the expenses of country club memberships, Zoe's desired new Lamborghini SUV, private schooling for the girls, the 10,000 square foot house Zoe convinced me to buy, along with all the extras, have been significant. However, they have been worthwhile investments, as seeing their joyful expressions and feeling their warm embraces has made every penny spent worth it. My life might have been filled with stress, but it has always been rich with love and warmth. I wouldn't alter a single aspect, and now I eagerly anticipate the next phase of my journey alongside my family. 30 minutes away from home, while my driver navigated through traffic, I reclined in the back of the limousine, feeling relaxed as I savored my second glass of bourbon poured from the onboard bar at the airport. As we approached the house and circled the driveway, it appeared tranquil. Yet I knew from past experience that within moments, my daughters would be bounding toward me, and my wife would welcome me with a tender kiss, promising a delightful evening together, wrapped in each other's embrace. Much to my dismay, I entered an empty house. The only sound echoed from the driver setting down my bags in the foyer. I called out, but there was no response. It struck me as odd, since the girls were usually home when I returned from a trip. I hoped everything was all right. Then I noticed the envelope with Zoe's beautiful handwriting addressed to me. To Jonathan, from your loving wife, Zoe. After the driver departed, I carried my bags to my room, changed out of my suit and into comfortable sweats, then made my way to the bar for a fresh glass of Eagle Rare 10-year-old malt bourbon. Eagerly awaiting a tender message from my wife, I settled into my favorite chair, savoring a long sip of the pricey elixir, enjoying the warmth it brought before opening the envelope.
Jonathan, my dearest, our journey as husband and wife has been nothing short of extraordinary. Every moment of the past 16 years has been a treasure, and I eagerly anticipate the next 50 years by your side as your devoted wife. My beloved, you mean the world to me, and I cherish you beyond words. You are my everything, and my existence is incomplete without you. Your love fulfills me entirely, and I yearn to be wrapped in your embrace every single day. These past 2 weeks apart have felt like an eternity, and I am counting down the moments until I can hold you again tonight. Your words touched me deeply, even more so than the bourbon warming my belly. I am truly fortunate to call you my wife. Have I mentioned lately how your tender affection sends shivers down my spine whenever you cross my mind? Do you recall me confessing, just before your departure on your recent journey, that I am hopelessly in love with you and wish to spend eternity by your side? Observing our daughters, I am reminded of the immense love and admiration they hold for you are the epitome of a perfect father. They adore you as much as I do, and we are all profoundly grateful to have you in our lives. Gosh, thinking about our two girls always brings tears to my eyes. I adore them more than anything I possess, and cannot wait to embrace and shower them with kisses once more. I've never mentioned this before, but my friends envy our relationship and how affectionate we still are after 16 years of marriage. They know how deeply in love we are, and they wish they had that in their own lives. I have a few reasons for writing this letter, my love. Firstly, I want to express my gratitude for everything you are, for giving me the most incredible 16 years of my life, for being an exceptional father to our children, for the amazing lifestyle you've provided for us, and above all, for the constant love you show me. The other reason is something I feel compelled to share. It's been weighing on me for the past 6 months, something unexpected that has become significant in my life. This doesn't sound promising. Perhaps I shouldn't continue reading, at least not until I refill my glass to steady myself. It must be the jet lag. Zoe and the girls mean everything to me. I can't believe I entertained negative thoughts. Maybe she's just joined a new club or started an expensive hobby. Let's see what she needs to share. Everything I've said so far is true, and I mean every word sincerely, which makes what I'm about to confess the most difficult thing I've ever done. Despite my unwavering love for you, I have something to admit. I hope you'll understand and won't give up on me or our relationship because of it. For the past 6 months, I've been involved with someone. Calling them lovers would be inaccurate. They are more like bed partners. There's no emotional attachment or love on my end, just a physical connection. What a shock! Zoe is betraying me? Despite all the love, freedom, and everything she desired, she's breaking her promises? Our intimate life was fulfilling. How could this happen? My heart feels shattered. Surely Zoe wouldn't engage in an affair, would she? I entrusted her with my heart and soul. How could she jeopardize everything we've built? Are all those years now ruined by a reckless fling? She can't be that foolish. I'm disclosing this now out of respect and overwhelming guilt. I can't bear the weight of this guilt any longer, and you deserve to know that I've been unfaithful, albeit only physically. You may not understand this, but there is no love here. It's just an irresistible attraction that defies explanation. They evoke sensations in me that defy description, and despite my efforts, I can't break free. It's become an addiction, and I find myself unable to let go. I understand you likely have numerous inquiries, and I want to be completely transparent. I hold too much respect for you to deceive or cause you harm in any way. However, I fear my admission may have caused you pain, and for that, I can only hope you comprehend it's something I felt compelled to do. You've done more than just hurt. Complete honesty? You've already deceived me. How can I ever trust you again? What have you done, Zoe? Please believe that I've endeavored to keep this separate from us and prevent it from impacting our lives. Upon reflection, I believe you'll agree that our relationship hasn't changed, and we've both been content. Nothing between us has shifted since this began, but I realize it can't continue undisclosed, so it's only fair you know everything. No secrets, darling. I cherish and honor you too greatly to withhold anything. Understand that my connection with him is solely physical, and I won't let it disrupt our love or intimacy. I simply needed to inform you that there's another aspect of me that I've shared with another man, but it doesn't diminish my love for you or the significance of our family. Family is paramount in my life and my top priority. Nothing will alter that. I understand that reading this will come as a shock, and it will be painful for you, but I am aware of the kind of person you are and how deeply you care for me. This understanding has empowered me to admit to my affair because I believe that you, in your core, will comprehend my needs and find it in your heart to forgive me. Your patience and empathy are among the many qualities I cherish in you, my dear. If you truly knew the kind of person I am, you would never have betrayed me and our daughters. You have underestimated me greatly, and you have effectively ended our marriage. There will be no forgiveness from me, only vengeance. Our daughters are staying with your mother for the night, so there's no need to worry about them, and they are eagerly awaiting to see you in the morning. Tonight, I am staying with a friend to give you the space to read my letter and come to terms with the new reality. I will return home around 10 p.m., and we can resume our lives together as if nothing has changed, because in my heart, nothing has changed, my love. I love you just as deeply today as I did yesterday, and I am certain that after we reconnect tonight, My love for you will only grow stronger, if that's even possible. Once I return home, I'll belong entirely to you, ready for you to embrace your affectionate wife once more. Remember, as you read this, you're the love of my life, and I'm yours until the end. I'm devoted to you, darling, ready to fulfill your every desire. Thank you for being yourself and the most wonderful husband imaginable. With eternal love, your devoted wife, Zoe.
After completing the letter, I noticed that the glass of bourbon I had been drinking had somehow become embedded in the adjacent wall. I couldn't recall throwing the glass, let alone throwing it with enough force to embed shards into the wall. It seemed my subconscious had taken control, pushing me into a heightened state of awareness. My ability to make quick decisions had been crucial to my success in business, and now I was acting on instinct. I grabbed a piece of paper, penned a response letter, sealed it with her name prominently displayed, and placed it alongside the envelope addressed to me on the table. Her letter went into my pocket as I gathered some luggage and headed to the girls' room to pack clothes for a short trip. En route, I contacted my assistant to prepare the corporate jet for a trip to San Francisco, where I planned to stay with my daughters for the foreseeable future. By 6:30 that evening, I was driving my Range Rover to my parents' house to collect the girls. I maintained a corporate apartment near my California office, stocked with everything needed for an extended stay. It would serve as the perfect interim residence until I consulted with my lawyers and mapped out my immediate plans. As I arrived at my parents' house, the girls dashed out to greet me, their faces beaming with smiles and showering me with 100 kisses. Their joy at seeing me was evident, and it brought a smile to my face for the first time since I returned home. "Daddy's back. We missed you, Daddy. We didn't expect to see you until tomorrow. Mommy told us you wouldn't be back until then. She had plans with her friend Jamie tonight, so we came here to see Grandma and Grandpa." I embraced and kissed them, feeling a tear trickle down my cheek from the overwhelming love, aware that their lives were on the brink of change due to their mother's infidelity. Their warm embrace brought solace to my soul, momentarily erasing all my troubles. Jamie's name caught my attention, and I made a mental note of it. Once the girls calmed down, I sprung the surprise on them. We were embarking on a trip for a few days, flying on the company jet. I assured them it would be a fun and thrilling vacation. Convincing the girls was easy. It was explaining things to Mom and Dad that proved challenging. They could tell I was distressed and objected to me taking the girls away until I allowed them to read the letter. I clarified that I needed time to clear my head and make plans without emotions clouding my judgment. I reassured them by mentioning the letter I left for Zoe and promised to call her from the jet. Additionally, I assured them I'd return within 2 weeks and emphasized it was just a short trip, so they needn't worry about the girls' well-being. They'd be in good hands. En route to the private terminal, I phoned the new president and informed him of my upcoming presence at the California office. I instructed him to take charge independently and to reach out to me solely for emergencies. "William, you're in charge for the next few weeks. Let's test your capabilities without my direct guidance. I'm confident in your abilities, and the staff will be ready to support you. I require some time for personal matters, so only reach out if it's urgent. I trust you'll excel, and I'm certain the company is in capable hands. Make me proud, William." "Don't fret, Mr. King. I've got everything under control, and all will proceed smoothly. Feel free to request daily updates if you wish. I understand how challenging it can be to entrust your baby to someone else. Let me know if you need anything during your absence." As we boarded the plane, the girls dashed up and down the aisle of the 16-seat passenger jet, enjoying themselves and interacting with Jessica, one of our regular flight attendants whom they adored. Jessica and I had developed a good friendship over the past 2 years, a natural result of spending countless hours together on flights. By 11 o'clock, the girls had fallen asleep, the cabin lights were dimmed, and the atmosphere was tranquil. Seizing the moment, I called home to speak with Zoe. "Jonathan, where are you, honey? Zoe, please listen carefully and refrain from interrupting, as I might lose the connection at this altitude. By now, I assume you've read my letter and know that I have the girls with me. They'll call you in the morning. I'll reach out to you in the next few days to discuss matters further. In the meantime, contact my parents if you need anything. Good night." I ended the call before she could respond. The flight proceeded smoothly, and we touched down at 1 a.m. I carried the girls to the waiting limo and later into my apartment. After tucking them into bed and giving them a kiss, I collapsed into bed myself, without even bothering to unpack. There would be ample time for that the next day.
Zoe returns home. I'm eagerly anticipating reuniting with my amazing husband. I ache for his embrace after these slow 2 weeks without him. Tonight, I'll be the perfect wife and fulfill his desires. The highlight of his business trips is always our first night back together, when his passion and love for me shine through. Upon entering the house, I noticed the lights were off, probably because he's exhausted from his trip. "Honey, I'm home," I called out, wondering if he's already in bed. He wasn't there, and there was no response from his phone, no missed calls or texts, which was unusual. Maybe he's out on the patio, relaxing. As I made my way to the patio, I spotted an envelope on the table, and suddenly, a sense of dread washed over me. It was addressed to me, right next to the one I had left him earlier. I hesitantly picked it up and nervously tore it open. Before I could read his letter, my phone rang, piercing the silence. Glancing at the screen, I saw it was Jonathan and quickly answered his call. I could barely manage a greeting before Jonathan instructed me to listen without interruption. He was using what I termed his work voice, authoritative and detached. As I listened, I sensed a growing undercurrent of pain in his tone. Though I longed to interject and express my love for him, I opted to hold my tongue until he finished speaking. I soon regretted that choice when he abruptly ended the call. It was clear things weren't unfolding as I had anticipated. For a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. I stood there, phone in one hand, and the letter he had mentioned in the other. Then, suddenly, my heart resumed its beat, and I jerked, dropping the phone. It clattered to the tile floor, but I paid it no mind, focusing instead on the contents of the letter. My hands trembled, and tears blurred my vision as I struggled to decipher Jonathan's words.
My dearest Zoe, I deeply appreciate your letter and your honesty. The past 16 years we've spent together have been the happiest of my life. You've blessed me with 2 wonderful daughters whom I cherish dearly. Our love has been extraordinary, and it doesn't surprise me to hear that our friends envy the bond we share, as you've always been the most significant part of my life. I had planned to surprise you tonight with news of changes I've made at work, allowing me more time with you and the girls. However, I returned home to find the house empty, which came as a shock. Throughout my journey, all I could think about was being reunited with my girls, receiving their warm embraces, and sharing romantic moments with my incredible, alluring wife. Yet for the first time in all my travels, I returned to an empty house. After such a long, tiring trip, all I desired was to unwind with you. Instead, I find myself sitting alone in our vast, silent home, feeling utterly broken. Initially disappointed and saddened, my spirits lifted momentarily when I spotted the envelope addressed to me on the table. I hoped it held a surprise from you and the girls indicating your imminent return, but the contents were unexpected. Yes, I have loved you with all my heart, just as you expressed in your letter. My love for you burns passionately, and I've always envisioned spending the rest of my life with you, our daughters, and perhaps, one day, our grandchildren. Your letter made me see that perhaps I've been too optimistic about my ability to comprehend and forgive. When I learned of your 6-month affair, it became clear that our marriage was over. The moment you shared intimacy with someone else marked the end of our relationship, though I didn't fully grasp it until I read your letter. Tears streamed down her face as she realizes she might have been the one to end their marriage. No, please God, no. This can't be real. Jonathan was supposed to understand. Zoe sinks to her knees, sobbing into her hands, realizing for the first time the gravity of her mistake. I regret to inform you that I cannot comprehend or accept your desire for another man. While I'm glad you've found someone who fulfills your needs, your infidelity means you forfeit your role as my wife and the mother of our children. The girls are with me, and we're heading to my office in San Francisco for the next week. I need some space away from you and our home to process your confession and actions. You can reach out to the girls tomorrow afternoon since we won't arrive until 1 a.m., and they'll be tired from the trip. Right now, being with my girls is what's keeping me grounded. They're safe with me, so there's no need for you to worry. You'll have plenty of free time to spend with your lover while I sort things out. There's no need for us to communicate, so please refrain from calling or texting as I won't respond. Feel free to call and FaceTime the girls as much as you'd like. I won't stop you from seeing them, nor will I be the one to tell them about their mother's choices. That's something you'll have to do when the time comes. He has to answer my call. He loves me. I need to make him see that I only want him. I'll tell him it's over. I'm sure he'll forgive me. Why isn't he picking up? Come on, Jonathan, please talk to me. He needs to talk to me before doing anything rash. I know him, and I need to explain things to him quickly and clearly. Your betrayal has caused me unimaginable pain. I'm baffled that you would expect me to tolerate your infidelity and disregard for our marriage vows. Your letter shattered my world, and it will take me a long time to recover from the love I've lost. I went from being the happiest man with plans for our future to feeling broken and defeated in mere moments. The woman I loved has made me an unwilling victim of betrayal, humiliating me beyond belief, and then expecting me to welcome her back. I'm heartbroken and just want to cry, but you know me. I won't dwell on the past. I'll inform you when we're returning. Jonathan?
Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably as I sat there, utterly shocked and devastated. Oh God, no, he can't do this. He can't leave me. This isn't how it was supposed to go. He always assured me of his love and desire for my happiness. How can he be so distraught? I must clarify things better. Clearly, he misunderstood my message and interpreted it all wrong. I need to reach out to Jamie. He'll know what to do. Jamie, it's me. He's left me and taken the girls. What should I do? He was supposed to listen and understand that our relationship was just physical. He's saying he's leaving me, and I'm lost. I sobbed into the phone. Zoe, calm down. He's upset now, but he'll come around. It's not like you're abandoning him or choosing me over him. It's just a few hours of intimacy we share when he's away. He won't leave you over that. Plus, he'll consider the consequences of leaving, and that should help him come to terms with the new situation. Did you express your love for him? Absolutely. I laid it all out in the letter, and I meant every word. He's my everything, and I can't imagine life without him. It's hard to understand why he's being so selfish. I just wanted him to share in my happiness. I feel so lost and hurt. Just try to get some rest, and tomorrow, give him a call after he's had time to process everything. I'll be back home around noon tomorrow. Why don't you come over then, and we can discuss it further? Try to rest, Zoe. Sleep was elusive that night, and when morning came, I finally gave up trying to sleep a little after noon. I immediately dialed Jonathan's number, but it only rang once before being cut off. He had blocked my number. Now I had no way to reach him. I'll contact the girls, and they'll pass the phone to their dad. When Cassie picked up the phone, she sounded delighted to hear from me, which warmed my heart. Hi, Mommy. Hi, sweetheart. Is your dad available? I need to talk to him. Mom, Daddy told me he doesn't want to talk to you and won't take the phone if you call. What's going on, Mom? Dad seems really upset and different. It's nothing serious. Parents sometimes have disagreements. Your dad misunderstood something I did, got upset, and left. I need to clarify things so he won't be upset anymore. I'll try to convince him to talk to you again, Mom. Hold on. I overheard her talking to him, and I didn't like his response. Mom, he said he'll reach out when he's ready to talk. Are you going to be okay, Mom? Yes. Don't worry, sweetheart. Your dad and I will sort things out. Just be good and call me, okay? Give your dad a kiss for me and pass the phone to your sister.
Jennifer, aged 13, and Cassie, aged 15, glanced at me with curiosity following the call. Cassie, being the older one, wore a sorrowful expression. Has Mom been unfaithful, Daddy? My heart shattered at her question. Fighting back tears, I simply shook my head and instructed them to get ready for lunch. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done, but I knew that with love and support, they would weather the storm ahead. Earlier that morning, before the girls woke up, I phoned our family attorney, who was already at his desk on the East Coast. George and I have been friends for 20 years, and we've been through a lot together, so I didn't waste any time in telling him the situation and what I wanted. George, I need to understand what the divorce process will entail and how difficult it might be. I want full custody of the children, regardless of the consequences. There's no chance for reconciliation, counseling, or forgiveness. I want this to be resolved as quickly as possible. For a prolonged moment, there was silence at the other end of the line. I grasped the situation and allowed him time to process the news. His reaction was likely as stunned as mine had been upon reading Zoe's letter. "Jonathan, I'm deeply sorry for this turn of events. Kate and I always believed you two were the ideal couple, and I'm baffled by her actions, but I understand your request. Remember when you and Roger started the company and he insisted on a prenuptial agreement before agreeing to go into business with you? Remember how insistent he was due to his past experience, how his ex-wife took advantage of him? Well, your prenup is in place and current, and if indeed she's having an affair, she relinquishes her rights to the children and any financial benefits from the marriage. Over the years, as your company flourished, I kept the prenup updated, collaborated with your corporate lawyers, and placed most of your assets in a trust, with you as the beneficiary. The house, cars, bank accounts, and investments are all covered by this trust, untouchable. Essentially, if she's breached the prenup, she leaves the marriage with what she brought into it and surrenders any claims to the children. We didn't set this up with this scenario in mind, but it seems to be working in your favor. George, you are absolutely correct. I never imagined she'd betray me, and I completely overlooked the prenup. But George, all I possess is the written confession of her infidelity. What else do we require? Well, obtaining her confession on video or audio, along with some photographs or a confession from her paramour, would be beneficial. George, could you handle that while I'm in California with the girls? Money is no issue, and I want evidence as swiftly as possible. I don't want this to linger. There's a name that my daughters mentioned, a man named Jamie. The only Jamie I know is the tennis instructor at our country club. Could you arrange for a private investigator and suggest starting there? I'm certain she'll communicate with her lover while I'm away. The private investigator's report. As it turned out, Jamie, the tennis instructor, was my adversary. Their negligence facilitated the PI firm's investigation. With my consent, they placed a tracking device on Zoe's car, installed audio recording equipment inside it, and set up video cameras in our house. All the evidence gathered from these devices was admissible in court because my company had control through the trust. In the following week, they collected sufficient audio and video recordings, along with Zoe's written confession, to proceed. I refrained from viewing or listening to any of the evidence, as I didn't want those images to haunt me forever. Predictably, Jamie revealed himself to be a womanizer, having been forced to leave his previous 2 jobs due to affairs with married women. He was much younger, in excellent physical condition, and the women at the club were captivated by him. Zoe was just one of many wives he was involved with at the club. Apparently, middle-aged married women were easy prey for this club professional. George reached out to me 5 days after our initial conversation to provide an update on the investigation. "Jonathan, we've gathered all the necessary evidence. What course of action do you prefer? Are you still intent on divorcing Zoe?" Without hesitation, I responded, "Prepare the divorce documents to inflict maximum pain. I want Zoe to experience some of the anguish she's caused me and grasp the extent of her mistakes. Have them served on Tuesday at 10 a.m. at our country club. She has a tennis lesson with Jamie at that time every Tuesday. Can we arrange for something to be served to him as well? It doesn't matter what it is. Even if it's just a nuisance suit, I want him involved in the legal proceedings. We can make those arrangements, and I'll explore the tennis pro aspect and get back to you. Perhaps We can implicate the club for employing a known predator. It may not lead to anything substantial, but it will expose the affair, which I assume is your intention. When do you plan to return? I intend to be at home, waiting for her after her service on Tuesday. I'll ensure I'm at the house before her return. Are you sure you're going to divorce her, Jonathan? As of now, absolutely. However, I need to think about the girls and have a discussion with her before I finalize the paperwork. This is tough, George, and I hope you never have to experience anything like it. I loved that woman with all my heart, and I can't just switch off that love. But I also despise what she's done to me and the girls, and I don't think I can ever forgive that. Whatever you decide, I'm here to support you, Jonathan. Keep in touch, and we'll inform you as soon as she's served. We reached the house Tuesday morning before 9 a.m., and the girls were glad to be home. I explained to them that after their mom returned from her tennis lesson, I wanted them to stay in their rooms while we sorted things out. I could sense their distress and concern, and I did my best to reassure them that everything would be okay.
Tuesday. Zoe. The air was warm on that summer day, and my tennis outfit was both short and alluring, accentuating my well-toned legs. Jamie's face lit up as he saw me, his captivating companion, enter his domain. After sharing a warm embrace and preparing to begin our lesson, a girl in cutoff jeans and a cropped shirt bounded onto the court. "Hello, can we assist you?" Jamie inquired, a smile playing on his lips as he addressed the adorable newcomer. "Yes. Are you Jamie Connors?" she replied. "I am. And who might you be?" "Well, today, I represent your worst nightmare. You've been served," she declared, handing him an envelope. He opened it as I approached to investigate. His expression darkened as he read the contents. "Damn it, the club saves me from intimacy. What the hell? Who's behind this?" The young girl remained by Jamie's side as she turned to me. "Pardon me, miss. Are you Zoe King?" "Yes," I responded, taken aback. "This is for you. You've been served." Upon reading the divorce decree, I collapsed to the ground in tears. This can't be real. He's divorcing me without even hearing me out. How could he do this after all we've been through? He knows how much I love him, so why is he doing this? As I wept on the unforgiving clay court, I sensed the stares of the onlookers. It's unbearable. I can only imagine what they're thinking. How did everything spiral so out of control? Jamie's agitation was evident as he paced on the court, glaring at the legal papers. Finally, he turned to me and said, "Zoe, you need to go home. I have to go to the club to ensure they received the papers too. I need to sort this out, and you need to reach out to your husband. Try to stop him from destroying our lives. Please, just go." Wiping the tears from my cheeks, I stood up and hurried to my car, attempting to regain control of my emotions. Yet, once I was inside and away from prying eyes, the tears surged back, and I found myself sobbing uncontrollably. Driving back home, I felt scared and upset. Upon arriving, the girls rushed out to greet me, momentarily distracting me from my troubles. "Where's your dad?" "He's inside." I dashed into the house, longing to embrace him and express my love, but he rebuffed me, extending his arm to keep me at bay. His rejection devastated me, and once again, I collapsed to my knees as the tears flowed anew. "Darling, I'm begging you not to go through with this. You know how deeply I care for you and how much I rely on you. I've been longing for you so much. Please don't push me away." "Zoe, I see you have the divorce papers. Our relationship is over, and soon we'll be legally divorced. You should have recognized it was finished when you got involved with Jamie. Zoe, I don't share. This is your doing, so please act like an adult and accept responsibility for your choices. As per the divorce agreement, you're aware that you'll need to find a new place to live. The children will remain with me, and you'll have unrestricted visitation rights unless you upset me." When I received your letter and discovered the betrayal, I took decisive action. By breaching the terms of the prenuptial agreement we signed before marriage, you forfeited your rights to the children and any financial support. Jonathan, you've acted without allowing me a chance to explain, and that's unjust. Admittedly, My letter failed to convey my intentions accurately, and for that, I apologize. But please, grant me an opportunity to clarify. All right, go ahead. Explain so I can comprehend your actions. My dear, in the letter, I aim to express my profound love for you and my unwavering commitment to our family. You and our daughters mean the world to me, and I would never purposefully cause harm. I wanted you to understand that my love for you is unparalleled, and I cherish you more than words can convey. So please understand that what happened was purely physical and doesn't diminish my devotion to you. Throughout our relationship, you've always supported me, so why should this be any different? I understand that you feel love for me and wish for our relationship to endure. You claim you'd never intentionally cause me harm, yet you introduced another man into our marriage. How could that not be painful for me? There's no place for a third party in our union. I have absolute intolerance for infidelity, and that's precisely what you've committed, an act of adultery against me and our marriage. You've shattered our vows, our bond, and brought disgrace upon both me and our children. For this, I cannot forgive you. You made the choice to engage in extramarital relations, and you must face the consequences. Every choice carries repercussions, and I believe you've chosen poorly. Why won't you listen to me? I don't love him. You're the one I love. Can't you see that? Why are you acting this way? She yelled in frustration. His demeanor remained unchanged, prompting her to reiterate, I love you, not him. What's gotten into you, Zoe? You've made me an unwilling participant in your infidelity and brought shame upon me. That's not love, it's contempt. You've forsaken our marriage and our children for a man known for his promiscuity, currently involved with several other women? Did you truly believe you were his sole interest? Additionally, have you considered what lies ahead for you once he's finished with you in a few months? Your reputation will be tarnished, and you'll be perceived as unfaithful, with only men seeking casual encounters showing interest. Given your age, you may find it challenging to attract someone looking for a serious commitment. Zoe, I foresee a prolonged period of solitude for you. It seems you didn't fully contemplate the consequences of your actions. Perhaps one day you'll grasp the gravity of your choices and the path you've chosen for yourself. For now, it's imperative that you leave. I'll arrange for my driver to take you wherever you wish to go, but you're no longer welcome in my residence. You want me to leave just like that? But this is my home too. Please, let me stay, darling. I'll end things with him. It was a mistake. We can put this behind us and return to normal if you'll give me another chance. Please, don't kick me out. Well, this isn't solely your home. The property is held in a trust, and you aren't a beneficiary of that trust. The same goes for the car. It's part of the trust, so it stays here. You have $3,000 in your checking account, the same amount you had when we got married, and nothing more. And no, we can't go back to how things were unless you find a way to rectify the situation. After what you've done with that person, I can never be intimate with you again. The divorce agreement stipulates that you must revert to your maiden name and cease using mine. While you will have unrestricted visitation rights with our daughters, they will reside with me. You forfeited everything the moment you began a relationship with your lover. How does that decision sit with you now, Zoe? Was it worth sacrificing everything for the charm of this special chemistry and bed satisfaction? I hope the realization of your losses haunts you every night, and that the pain you've inflicted upon me weighs heavily on you for years to come. Yes, I cherished you more than anything, but I refuse to live with a spouse who betrays my trust. You may spin the narrative however you wish, but the truth remains that you engaged in infidelity, which marked the end of our 16 years together. Zoe, still sprawled on the floor, felt hopeless. Her world was crumbling around her, and she had always gotten her way until now. She never anticipated Jonathan's reaction. She had hoped he would understand and accept her brief affair if it brought her happiness. Zoe realized she had misjudged her husband completely, followed bad advice from Jamie, and now she had lost her family and ruined her 16-year marriage. Jonathan gazed at Zoe, fighting back tears for the life he had lost and the love he once felt. His love had turned into sorrow and emptiness due to her selfishness and actions. He knew the pain and sadness would linger for a long time, but he also understood that there was no going back from her betrayal and disdain.
A half year later, the divorce was finalized. Despite Zoe still being the mother of my 2 daughters, I covered the expenses for her for the initial 3 months in a modest 2-bedroom furnished apartment close to our previous residence and the club. Additionally, I bought her a 3-year-old Toyota Camry. Though I wasn't obligated to provide anything, ensuring my kids could easily visit their mother was paramount to me. Gone were the days of Lamborghinis and luxury lifestyles, all sacrificed for some tennis pro she won't ever see again. Playing the role of the good guy, I even secured her a job at the country club. They were more than willing to assist once I withdrew my lawsuit. In exchange for dropping the suit, they agreed to terminate Jamie's employment and assist Zoe in finding work. Now Zoe is no longer a member of the country club but works there as a server, which helps cover her expenses. With no experience or qualifications for other positions, becoming a waitress at the club was her only option. Undoubtedly, transitioning from a prominent club member to a server must have been humiliating for her. Expensive shopping trips and weekends away with her friends became a thing of the past. Instead, every penny she earned at the club went toward necessities like rent, insurance, and food. She had never before worried about bills or budgets, but now she found herself entirely responsible. The weight of her choices and sacrifices hit her hard. She didn't need to confess. I could see the regret written all over her face each time I saw her. When the lawsuit began, Jamie abandoned Zoe in an effort to protect his job, leaving her with no one to turn to. According to the girls, their mother cried herself to sleep every night, mourning the love and luxuries she had forsaken to indulge her own desires. It took this ordeal for her to realize the gravity of her actions and how foolish she had been to expect her husband to condone her selfishness. I expressed my disappointment with the way events unfolded to the girls, affirming my enduring love for their mother and encouraging them to embrace forgiveness and affection towards her. They maintained a strong bond and continued to spend time with their mother on her days off. It wasn't until later that year, during one of her visits to pick up the girls, that we had our initial amicable exchange. She admitted to finally comprehending the impact of her actions and earnestly pleaded for my forgiveness. "Jonathan, I understand that we won't reconcile, and I know I've shattered your trust, but I need to express my deep regret and plead for your forgiveness. I now comprehend the gravity of my actions and the pain I caused you. I used to live a carefree, entitled life oblivious to the consequences of my behavior. I never considered your feelings, but now I'm fully aware of the harm I've inflicted on you, and I'm truly sorry. If there were a way to undo it all, I would seize it without hesitation. Losing you has been the most devastating experience, and I ache for your love and presence. Over the past year, I've matured significantly, and reflecting on my past actions fills me with disbelief and remorse. I deeply regret ruining our relationship and implore you to forgive me. Jonathan, I will always cherish you and acknowledge you as the perfect partner." Her apology touched me, and though forgiveness might take time, I knew my love for her would endure. She had been my everything for so long. Love like ours doesn't just vanish. Despite our estrangement, Zoe remained a captivating woman, and I was certain she would find someone new soon. I hope she had learned from her mistakes and would remain faithful in her future endeavors. Jamie was dismissed from the club, prompting his relocation to South Carolina, where a small club on Hilton Head offered him a position as an assistant tennis professional. Within a month, he reverted to his previous behavior of pursuing married women. However, the residents of South Carolina were less tolerant than those in the city. When he was caught with the wife of one of the locals, the outcome was unfavorable. A month later, the local newspaper reported an alligator attack on the golf course, with photos showing an arm in the mouth of one of the 17-foot gators. It was speculated that Jamie had been running near the lake and had been accidentally caught by one of the alligators. Jamie, once the predator, had now become the prey. During one of my solitary nights reminiscing about our family's happier times, I came across a passage that struck me. "A man's biggest mistake is giving another man an opportunity to make his woman smile. I vowed never to make that mistake again."